One of the things that seems to be missing in this world today is right speech. So, all you got to do is look at the news and you know exactly what I'm talking about. So we're going to go over right speech real quick. Now, a lot of this is from Venerable Chodron's teachings. So, right speech. The Buddha, when he referred to his own speech, said that his speech was truthful. It was useful. It was spoken at the right time and spoken with compassionate motivation. We seem to have forgotten that compassionate motivation nowadays. These 4 qualities of good speech are very important. Being truthful, useful, timely, and compassionate. So truthfulness, whatever. Obviously, this means abandoning lying and deliberately saying things that we know are not true. Being truthful is not just saying the facts as best as we understand them, but it means not using the truth to harm others. We pick out certain details and something to prove our point and omit other details that would help us to understand the other person's viewpoint. Sometimes we exaggerate when we talk. We also do a lot of double talking, explaining a situation one way to one person and another way to another person. We're saying it in this way one time and that way another time. So we need to be truthful. Useful speech. Usefulness can be talked about in 2 ways. Things that are useful in the long run, that is, useful for our ultimate goal of attaining awakening, and things that are useful that are temporarily in our daily life. So how do we use our speech in a useful way for the ultimate purpose of liberation and awakening? By speaking the Dharma to others. By speaking the Dharma to ourselves in our mind. By teaching the Dharma to others. That is to say, that is why it says in the teachings that the gift of the Dharma is the highest gift. By explaining the teachings, you give people the tools with which they can free their own minds. So how do we make our speech useful in the day-to-day way to help avoid conflicts, to help soothe conflicts? We do it by giving up slandering, backbiting, give up blaming ourselves and blaming others. In our mind, we give up this attitude of trying to find one person to blame, whether it is dumping on that somebody else or dumping it on ourselves. We give up slandering, we give up idle talk. Whether our speech is idle talk or not has a lot to do with our motivation, with our mind. When are we using our speech in a meaningful way? In other words, when do you use your speech in a meaningful way? Keep your mind on that. Speaking at the right time. Certain things need to be spoken at the right time. If spoken at the right time, it fits in great. But if you speak them at another time, it might not be so appropriate. The timing is wrong. Such as giving negative feedback. If you give negative feedback, try to do it while other people aren't around. It makes it easier. But it's not just what you say that matters. It's also when you say it and how you say it. This is very important. When we give feedback, we don't blame the other person. We just state the situation as you see it without giving away the meaning or the purpose to it. When we're flustered or stressed out, that's not the time to give somebody feedback. We need to do it when it's quiet, when we're in a private situation, and when we're calm. And also give praise at the right time. That you can do when anybody else is around, hopefully. But make sure it's the proper one. You observe manners. The people we live with, the people whom we're closest to, people we love the most, we often feel that they are part of us, so that we can treat them in the same discourteous, rude, obnoxious way that we treat ourselves. It's true. Look at the way we talk to ourselves. That's the same way we talk to the people whom we're closest to, completely without respect. It's also a call to look at the way we talk to ourselves. When we talk with ourselves, when we talk with our family, we should be polite. Okay. When we begin to see how much conflict in relationships occur just because of being impolite, it's incredible. For example, being impolite, you can do it with a tone of voice. You can do it by not saying thank you, not saying please. So observing manners is very important, especially with the people we live with and work with. And it's good to start checking up on your own speech, how you use speech. Are you polite when you talk to people? Are you obnoxious when you talk to people? Are you rude when you talk to people? We can see how small things can make very significant differences in the relationships we have with each other just by watching how they react to us. Then, of course, there's always the notion of knowing when to be silent. Sometimes silence can be the best way of using our speech. Sometimes just being silent gives the other person the opportunity to say what they need to say. Sometimes it's better not to fill a space, to just be quiet. So we can learn to be silent. And we can learn to be with others in a peaceful way, in a silent way, especially in Dharma situations, which we do around here a lot. Okay. And then the last one is speak motivated by compassion. This is the most important quality about speech. This is why we speak. We need to really look at our motivation. Things don't come out of your mouth unless the mind moves first. So look at the mind. What's the mind's motivation? Sometimes we may speak truthfully, but with the intent is to harm somebody with the truth. Sometimes we may praise people, but the intention is to harm them with praise. That's not right speech. If we praise but our motivation isn't good, our praise becomes flattery, or our praise becomes coercion. That's not right speech. Sometimes compassionate speech can also be direct and quite straightforward. Compassionate speech can be speaking out against injustice. It can be speaking out against prejudice. But these are done with compassion, not anger. So we need to be aware of our speech. Insults, sarcasm, lying, yelling, pushing buttons, these are not right speech. Saying shut up to somebody, that's not right speech. Our speech can be an instrument for tremendous good, or it can be an instrument for tremendous pain. So before we speak, we need to step back and really start being aware of our intentions to speak. What am I going to say? And do I really need to say it? This is the beginning of being a nice person. Yeah. This is training.